The world is changing every day. If you aren't hip to the artificial intelligence wave that's happening right now, then you're going to get left behind. And it's actually incredible what the tools that are out there are able to do with artificial intelligence. Today, I'm in my parents' basement where my Pokemon business lives, as I'm kind of in between apartments. And last night, I was up till 5 a.m. kind of in a rabbit hole going down a new business idea that I had that I want to build with artificial intelligence. It's actually incredible to me how tools like Cursor and chatgpt and other platforms that are out there enable non-technical people like myself to code software and create products and services for other people. I have an idea that I'm brewing on, and I wanted to make this video and talk about artificial intelligence and just some of the ways that I've been using it in my daily life that I think is a big opportunity for people out there, especially folks that are younger and willing to learn. One of the most incredible things that I've kind of talked about with my parents or other people that experienced the internet wave in the early 2000s is that one of their biggest regrets was not taking the time to learn how the internet works, how coding works, how new technical products and things worked, and basically felt completely left out when the boom occurred. And so here I am thinking of the same thing where we're in the year 2025, artificial intelligence is everywhere. You hear it in companies and they're all hands. You hear it at the various quarterly financial reports that big tech companies put out. You hear news articles about how artificial intelligence is replacing programmers and how people should rethink all of their career paths and stuff like this because of it. And the technology for this stuff just gets better and better based on how all of it works. So this leaves me, a 23-year-old, feeling a bit perplexed as to like, well, what do I do? Am I gonna get left out? There's a fear here that I want to make sure that I'm making the most of the opportunity that we see in front of me. And I've already used artificial intelligence for all sorts of stuff, whether that's using it to code in Python for various automation tasks, whether that's scripting and creating content for this YouTube channel, or creating various video ideas, brainstorming, using it to fix my grammar and other stuff like that. But we're starting to see that it can do a lot more than that. Just last night, when I was kind of workshopping through this idea that I have for a product or service for Pokemon card sellers, I was using ChatGPT's dictate function to speak into the phone and use ChatGPT that way, which maybe I'm just behind, but I had never done that before. And there was something so magical about speaking to ChatGPT in a more flowing way versus having to prompt it. And it was like my personal hype man. Every single time I would ask a question, it would say, you're on the right track. You're thinking about this the right way. Here's the next steps that we need to do. Are you ready to create the vision for this? Should we write a business plan? Do we need to make MVPs or mockups? And it's like actually wild how something that about 2 years ago came out. I started making TikToks about it saying, oh, artificial intelligence is scary and this is how, you can prompt it to get answers to crazy questions. And then the hallucinations that were present throughout the time that have just seemingly gone away. And then now there's all these fields and things dedicated to studying, how to best use artificial intelligence for all sorts of stuff. It's really incredible how fast the technology is moving. And I think that as young folks who are looking to kind of pave their path, both career-wise or financially, it's a huge missed opportunity to not take advantage of the tools and get super serious about learning it. So I wanted to take this video to kind of highlight this key moment in time that I'm really excited about and kind of trying to do my best to get really involved in. And so I wanted to talk about some of the things that I'm actively starting to do to get myself involved. Because when I look back on this video in the future, I want to say, well, what was Will doing at 23 when this opportunity was here? And this is that video. So the first thing that I'm trying to do is to just integrate it into everything that I do. The ChatGPT kind of functionality of dictate is actually really, really interesting. I was walking around Seattle with a friend of mine who pulled up Perplexity AI and spoke into his phone and was just like talking to Perplexity as if it was a friend that was with us as well, asking questions about, hey, where's the best beach to go into Seattle? Where's the best food, etc. And to my surprise, it took that information, summarized it, and then just gave him answers so fast. It was insane. And if you guys saw my previous video about having a dumb smartphone, you would know that my phone doesn't do a whole lot of stuff. And seeing this was like eye-opening because it was incredible that like you could just speak to the phone and then it could just give you this type of information that fast. Whereas if you were to Google search or other stuff like that, like you're spending time scrolling on the phone and all that stuff, which is different and a different experience. Where this is like, hey, I have a question, I have a quick answer, and then I can just take it and go, and I can speak to it, so I don't even have to necessarily look at the phone and kind of text and talk to it a whole bunch. So that was incredible. And so I think I'm going to try and incorporate more functionality like that into the things I do. Like I mentioned last night, I used ChatGPT's dictate function to speak to the app, and that was the first time that I had ever not prompted using keyboard functionality, and it was so much fun kind of just talking through ideas in a more free-flowing way to the AI tool. And so that's number one, is I'm going to try and incorporate ChatGPT as more of my search function / personal assistant. If I have questions or I'm thinking about it, ChatGPT is my advisor to go to and then talk to and get advice on whatever it is that I'm working with, while of course paying attention and trying to use personal experience to filter out when it might be on the wrong path and pushing bias or other information that might not be super helpful. Because I do think it is like a personal hype man, and so you want to be careful. You don't just accept yes to everything. The second thing that I'm going to be doing is incorporating it into, not allowing myself to be limited by, I don't know how to do that. And so I think this is something that young people are actually very effective at generally. I think with the information age and internet, kind of growing up with this stuff, I've always had the mentality that I could go on YouTube and kind of learn whatever it is that I want to do. However, I've always felt that technical skill sets, specifically like coding, were kind of above my level of understanding, and that the time investment that it would take to learn skills like that would just take way too long, and so it probably wasn't worth pursuing. It would be better to either make friends or to hire that to work out in the future. And so, I have maintained that belief, and I kind of was originally going down a computer science background in high school, where I took Intro to Computer Science, and then about a year later was going to take the AP Computer Science course. And I remember the first day of that AP Computer Science course, they was like, all right, welcome to AP Computer Science. If you don't remember for loops and arrays and these very, very basic scripting things, which that's probably not even the right term, these very basic functions, then like go refresh on this. And it was that instant where I was like, I don't remember any of this. I'm going to go and take business classes. And so a very distinct pivotal moment where I was kind of going down more of the computer science path, trying to learn how to code and information like that, and then switched to business because I thought it was over my head. Well, here I am now, and these AI tools can basically do all of the coding work for me. And just by looking at code over and over and over again, kind of using it in different aspects of my life, whether that's at work or personal or, just kind of creating stuff and messing around, I'm starting to pick up very basics of like how you would read Python scripts or other information like that. And from an efficiency standpoint, it's actually incredible what you can do with code. I like to think of it as like a way that allows you to interact with the computer in a way that a human couldn't. And so when I think about jobs that myself, my family, or other people I know have, the amount of kind of manual tasks and boring work that exists that could be completely solved with code is pretty incredible. And it costs too much to hire developers to automate that work away for other people. And so if you take it upon yourself to learn that skill set of automation, then you can free up a ton of your time and then ultimately produce better outputs for everything that you're doing. And so I really want to kind of move away from allowing myself to be limited by, I don't know how to do that and I'm not going to pursue it, or it's too advanced. In that case, I think some of the artificial intelligence has really been able to close the gap with that thing. And then the third thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my own advice. If you haven't seen it already, I made a top 10 side hustles video for 2025 talking about 10 things that I know people are doing, friends of mine that are doing, side hustles or things that I've done personally. And one of the things that I talked about was, using AI to create services or to create business opportunities and use that as your side hustle. And so this video is me going to kind of kickstart that process for myself, where I'm going to do that. I last night spent a bunch of time kind of brainstorming and thinking about what I could do with some of the tools that are out there, such as Cursor, where you can basically integrate AI into a developer environment and then use it to generate code bases and generate apps and all sorts of information and products that allow you to then make apps or other software. And so I have an idea. I want to make a very specific type of accounting software that people can leverage for a trading card business, as I've seen how messy accounting can get. There's a lack of information out there about it, and there's a lack of knowledge amongst the community, and I think there's a huge opportunity to create something super valuable for all sorts of people. And so I plan on kind of going down this path and really trying to teach myself how to use artificial intelligence to create software. And then this is going to be what I'm going to try and make, and I will bring you guys along on the journey when I think it's relevant. So those are kind of the three things that I'm doing to make sure that I'm capturing the most opportunity of artificial intelligence. I think if you're, in the younger age range of 30 and below, but even just broader, I think it's really important that we teach ourselves these skills and that we get really educated on how to best use artificial intelligence in our daily lives, because it seems to me that everything around me is suggesting that this is the future. More and more people, more and more places, the work, everything is starting to suggest that artificial intelligence is the way of the future. And so as a YouTube channel that is dedicated to empowering young people to take control of not only their futures and their finances, it's incredibly important that we don't miss out on something that could basically be the next internet. So with that out of the way, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. This is just a short one as I'm not in my normal situation here. We're back at the parents' basement where all this business stuff began, and I will see you all in the next video. Thank you guys. Bye.